She was known as Alice on TV's Brady Bunch.
We had no clue. I had a friend who invited me, not telling me anything. We had a mutual friend. And over to the house, we sat down in the living room. It got quiet, and they're all looking and laughing.
September 26, 1969, a Friday night. Millions of American families crowded around their television sets, and a little show nobody expected to survive debuted on ABC. Critics dismissed it. Ratings were modest. The New York Times called the pilot family situation comedy carried to the apex of ludicrousness. And yet, something happened. Something the suits in the boardroom couldn't predict and the critics couldn't explain. That show burrowed itself into the soul of an entire generation. And then the next one. And then the next one after that. The Brady Bunch. Today, in 2026, we are going to take you on a journey through the laughter, the heartbreak, the secrets, the scandals, and the remarkable second acts of every major member of that legendary cast. Some of them rebuilt their lives in ways that will genuinely shock you. Some of them left Hollywood behind and never looked back. And some of them never got the chance to grow old. Stay with us, because by the time this video is done, you are going to see the Brady Bunch in a completely different light. The show that wasn't supposed to matter. Before we get to where these incredible people are today, you need to understand where they came from and why the world almost never knew their names at all. Created by television genius Sherwood Schwartz, the same man behind Gilligan's Island, the Brady Bunch told the story of Mike Brady, a widowed architect raising 3 boys who falls in love with Carol Martin, a single mother with 3 girls. Together with their beloved housekeeper Alice, they blended into one big, gloriously chaotic family. A 2-story suburban Los Angeles home, 6 kids, 1 bathroom, and enough life lessons to fill an encyclopedia. What made this show revolutionary, and people don't talk about this enough, is that it tackled the concept of blended families at a time when most television still pretended the nuclear family was the only family that existed. When
we picked right up where we left off. We've always been really close. We get along far better than real family.
Yeah.
Carol tells Bobby early in the series that the only steps in their house are the ones that lead to the 2nd floor. It wasn't just a cute line. It was a statement, a declaration. These were not stepchildren. This was simply a family. And now let us meet that family. Then and now. Robert Reed, Macy, Mike Brady. To the world, he was the perfect father. Steady, warm, dependable. Mike Brady, the architect who always had the right answer and the right speech ready when one of his kids was struggling. But behind the camera, Robert Reed was anything but at peace. Born John Robert Reeds Jr., on October 19, 1932, Reed was a classically trained Shakespearean actor who had earned real critical respect on the legal drama The Defenders before the Brady Bunch came calling. And from the very beginning, he resented the show. He felt the material was beneath him. Producers and directors found him notoriously difficult. In one famous instance, Reed was so disturbed by what he felt was an absurd script, the one where Carol and Alice hold a competition to make the best strawberry preserves, that his frustration reportedly boiled over on set. He battled with creator Sherwood Schwartz constantly, sending lengthy memos arguing for rewrites, for realism, for dignity. And yet, here is the heartbreaking irony. He kept coming back. Every spin-off, every reunion special, the Brady Bunch Hour, the Brady Girls Get Married, a very Brady Christmas. Even the more dramatic 1990 series The Bradys, where he fought with Schwartz again, this time over the show's writing direction. Robert Reed reportedly hated the Brady Bunch, and he could not stay away from it. Now ask yourself this: why would a man who despised his most famous role spend nearly 20 years returning to it? Think about that for a moment. We'll come back to it, because there was a secret, one that Robert Reed carried alone for most of his life. Reed was gay, something the entire cast and crew quietly knew, but nobody discussed publicly. In an era when Hollywood could and would destroy a career over such a revelation, Reed lived a double life. Florence Henderson later spoke about it with visible sorrow, saying that off-camera, Robert was an unhappy man, and that had he not been forced to live that double life, she believed much of his frustration and anger would have simply dissolved. In November 1991, Reed was diagnosed with colon lymphoma. He was also HIV positive, a fact not publicly revealed until details from his death certificate were made public after he passed. He died on May 12, 1992, at Huntington Memorial Hospital in Pasadena, California. He was just 59 years old. When he became ill, he allowed only his daughter Karen and his close friend, actress Anne Haney, to visit him. The epitaph on his tombstone reads, "Good night, sweet prince." Robert Reed never got the peace he deserved in life. But every time you watch a rerun of The Brady Bunch, you are watching a man who gave more of himself than most people will ever know. Florence Henderson, Lexi, Carol Brady. If Robert Reed was the tragic heart of this story, Florence Henderson was its sunshine. Born on Valentine's Day, February 14, 1934, in Dale, Indiana, the youngest of 10 children from a family ravaged by poverty, Henderson's path to Carol Brady was not easy. She studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York and made her Broadway debut while still a teenager. She performed over 1,000 Broadway performances and became the first woman to guest host The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. She was, by any measure, already a star when the Brady Bunch began. But Carol Brady made her immortal. Henderson fully embraced her role as America's TV mom in a way that Reed never could with his.
Carol Brady,
Yes, Roy.
was she divorced or widowed before she got together with Mike? You can't find the answer anywhere.
She was warm, gracious, and perpetually giving to fans. She returned for every reunion, every spin-off, every cameo the franchise could throw at her. She was the spokesperson for Wesson, cooking oil for more than 2 decades. She competed on Dancing with the Stars in 2010. She kept performing, kept showing up, kept smiling, well into her 80s. And then, on Thanksgiving Day, November 24, 2016, Florence Henderson passed away at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles after suffering heart failure. She was 82. Just 3 days before her death, she had attended a taping of Dancing with the Stars to support her former on-screen daughter, Maureen McCormack. That was who Florence Henderson was, still showing up for her family, even at the very end. She is survived by 4 children and 5 grandchildren. The Brady household will never fully recover from the absence of its mom. Ann B. Davis, Alice Nelson. You simply cannot talk about the Brady Bunch without talking about Alice, and you cannot talk about Alice without talking about the remarkable Ann B. Davis. Before she ever put on Alice Nelson's maid uniform, Davis had already won 2 Emmy Awards, both for her role as Schultze on The Bob Cummings Show in the 1950s. She was a genuine television veteran when she joined the Brady cast, and her deadpan humor and impeccable comic timing gave the show a grounding energy that anchored every episode. After the Brady Bunch ended and the reunion projects wound down, Davis made a quieter, more spiritual choice. She joined an Episcopal religious community in Ambridge, Pennsylvania, living in a communal household that emphasized prayer and service. It was a radical departure from Hollywood, and one she apparently embraced wholeheartedly. On June 1, 2014, Ann B. Davis fell in her bathroom and suffered a subdural hematoma. She never regained consciousness and passed away that same day at age 88. 3 of the Brady Bunch's main adult cast were now gone, and the 6 children of the blended family, those 6 kids from that 2-story house on a backlot in Los Angeles, were left to carry the legacy forward. Were they ready for that? Let's find out. Barry Williams, Greg Brady. Of all the Brady kids, Barry Williams has remained the most relentlessly, enthusiastically connected to his Brady identity. And honestly, good for him, because he has turned that identity into something genuinely impressive. Born on September 30th, 1954, Williams was already appearing on shows like The FBI, Gomer Pyle USMC, and Adam 12 before Greg Brady made him a household name at just 14 years old. After the show ended in 1974, he worked steadily. Stage productions of Grease, The Sound of Music, West Side Story, a stint as a con man on General Hospital in 1984, guest appearances on Three's Company, Full House, Scrubs, and That 70s Show. In 1992, he published his autobiography Growing Up Brady, I Was a Teenage Greg, which was later adapted into a TV movie in 2000. He formed the band Barry Williams and the Travelers and released music. He became the ambassador and spokesperson for MeTV, the classic television network. And in 2026, Barry Williams is still going strong. He participated in the Australian version of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, showcasing his spirit and humor to a whole new international audience. His filmography continues to expand, with recent credits including the 2025 thriller Control Freak. He is active in musical theater, with his 2025 to 2026 season featuring productions including Alone Together and Nobody's Perfect. He co-hosts the Real Brady Brothers podcast with Christopher Knight. He is also involved in a documentary project about wooden roller coasters, which tells you everything you need to know about how genuinely interesting this man is when the cameras aren't rolling. Barry Williams has never run from being Greg Brady. He ran toward it, figured out how to make it work for him, and built a career on his own terms. There is a lesson in that for all of us. Maureen McCormack, Marcia Brady. Marcia. It is one of the most quoted lines in television history. And the woman behind Marcia Brady has lived a life far more complex, far more painful, and ultimately far more triumphant than any Brady script could have captured. Maureen McCormack had already appeared on Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, and My Three Sons before The Brady Bunch. After it ended, she built a larger filmography than almost any of her co-stars, guest starring on Happy Days, The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and more. But behind the scenes, McCormack was fighting a battle that nearly consumed her. She has spoken openly about her addiction to cocaine and Quaaludes during the post-Brady years, addiction so severe that she reportedly botched an audition for Raiders of the Lost Ark, a film that, of course, became one of the most successful movies of all time. She battled her way back. She returned to acting. She wrote her 2008 autobiography, Here's the Story, Surviving Marcia Brady and Finding My True Voice, which landed at number 4 on the New York Times bestseller list. She competed in season 23 of Dancing with the Stars. She co-hosted the HGTV series Frozen in Time in 2021. And in 2025, Maureen McCormack celebrated a deeply personal milestone: 40 years of marriage to her husband, Michael Cummings. 40 years. For a woman who once nearly lost herself entirely, that number is extraordinary. She returned to the iconic Brady Bunch house in North Hollywood for a special emotional visit, reconnecting with her past in a meaningful way. She shared the stage with Sharon Lawrence in the play Pen Pals during late 2025. Rumors suggest she may be working on a follow-up literary project in 2026. Marcia Brady was the girl who seemed to have it all. Maureen McCormack is the woman who had to fight for everything, and won. Eve Plum, Jan Brady Quick. Without thinking too hard, who was always in Marcia's shadow? That's right, Jan Brady. Marcia was Jan's exasperated cry, and it became a cultural shorthand for feeling perpetually overlooked. Funny then that the real-life Eve Plum has built one of the most quietly distinguished second acts of the entire Brady cast. Born on April 29, 1958, Plum followed up the Brady Bunch with a steady stream of TV guest appearances and stage work. But her real passion, the one that genuinely surprised many fans, was painting. Eve Plum became a serious, respected visual artist, exhibiting her work in galleries around the country. The girl who played the middle child nobody noticed became a painter who demanded to be seen, on her own terms, in her own voice. Her net worth in 2026 is estimated at $6.2 million, a testament to a life built on multiple creative fronts. She has been married to business and technology consultant Ken Pace since 1995, and in 2026, she has a major milestone on the horizon that fans of the original show cannot miss: the release of her memoir, Happiness Included, Jan Brady and Beyond, scheduled for April 28, 2026. In her own words about the book, "I had a unique childhood that I would like to share now because looking back, it gives me joy." She has also been active on the storytelling circuit, appearing at events like the Moth Ball in 2025 to share personal anecdotes. Jan Brady spent years being the overlooked middle child. Eve Plum spent her adult life making absolutely sure nobody would overlook her again. Mission accomplished. Christopher Knight, Peter Brady. Christopher Knight played middle son Peter Brady, awkward, earnest, forever caught between the ambitions of older brother Greg and the comedy gold that was little Bobby. And Knight himself? He turned out to be anything but awkward. After the Brady Bunch, Knight made a fascinating pivot. He walked away from acting and built a highly successful career in the tech industry, developing and founding software companies. He then founded Christopher Knight Home, a brand of household furnishings that grew into a notable commercial enterprise. The man went from child star to tech entrepreneur, which is frankly one of the more unexpected plot twists in this entire story. He has been married 4 times, most famously to model Adrienne Curry from 2006 to 2012, a relationship that became the subject of the VH1 reality series My Fair Brady from 2005 to 2008. In 2023, Knight appeared in the documentary True Love, the film, which raised awareness about Williams syndrome, a rare genetic disorder showing that his interests extend well beyond Hollywood and beyond himself. He co-hosts the Real Brady Bros podcast with Barry Williams and continues to engage with the Brady legacy, while clearly being a man who has built an identity far larger than any single role. Mike Lookinland, Bobby Brady. And then there is Mike Lookinland, who played Bobby Brady, the youngest of the boys, the prankster, the kid with the gap-toothed grin who made you want to ruffle his hair. Of all 6 Brady kids, Lookinland made perhaps the most dramatic choice. He simply walked away. After the show, he worked behind the scenes in Hollywood for years as an electrical and camera technician. But Hollywood eventually let him go, or he let go of Hollywood. Either way, Lookinland relocated to Salt Lake City, Utah, and built something entirely new from scratch. He founded Just Add Water Custom Concrete, a company specializing in concrete countertops, fireplace facades, stair treads, and architectural concrete work. "We make concrete countertops of all things," he once said with the kind of self-deprecating humor that made Bobby Brady so lovable. He got the chance to show off his work on the 2019 HGTV special A Very Brady Renovation, when all 6 Brady kids reunited to renovate the famous Brady house. In 2022, he joined Barry Williams and Christopher Knight as mummies on Fox's The Masked Singer. So he hasn't disappeared entirely, but his day-to-day life is rooted in something completely removed from the spotlight, and he seems genuinely at peace with that. There is something beautiful about a former child star building things with his hands and leaving something solid and real behind, don't you think? Susan Olsen, Cindy Brady. Last but absolutely not least, Cindy Brady, the youngest, the pigtailed baby of the family who was always getting her siblings into trouble and always somehow escaping blame herself. Susan Olsen played her with an irresistible charm that made the character impossible to dislike. What many people don't know is that Susan Olsen was not exactly thrilled to be on the show. In a May 2025 podcast interview, she admitted openly, "I'd been praying for the show to be canceled." Growing up on national television during your most awkward years, she explained, was not something she signed up for willingly. But her perspective changed dramatically. She later discovered that child psychiatrists were using Brady Bunch episodes therapeutically with children who had come from abusive homes. Kids who had never experienced a safe, loving family found comfort in watching the Bradys navigate their gentle, good-natured world. That revelation transformed how Olsen saw the show's legacy entirely. Her post-Brady career was wide-ranging: graphic design, art direction, talk radio, animal welfare advocacy. She co-authored the 2009 book Love to Love You Bradys, the bizarre story of the Brady Bunch Variety Hour. She hosted radio shows in Los Angeles for years. As of 2026, she works as an acting coach at Vibe Performing Arts in Santa Clarita, California, helping the next generation of performers find their footing in an industry that can be as unforgiving as it is magical. The house, the legacy, and what it all means. In 2026. In 2019, all 6 Brady kids reunited for A Very Brady Renovation on HGTV, an emotional, funny, sometimes tearful journey to transform the iconic North Hollywood house into a fully livable home that matched the interior sets from the original show. The house was subsequently listed for $5.5 million in May 2023. A superfan, media executive Tina Trahan, wife of former HBO chief Chris Albrecht, purchased it in September 2023 for $3.2 million, pledging to keep it exactly as it is and use it for charity events and fundraisers. And then, on March 4, 2026, the Los Angeles City Council voted on a historic landmark designation for the property, a sign of just how deeply embedded this house and this show are in the fabric of American cultural identity. Barry Williams, reflecting on the bond the cast has maintained over more than 5 decades, captured it beautifully in a 2025 interview. "We know the ups and downs. We've been through weddings. We've been through separation. We've been through kids. We've been through college now. These are not co-workers who exchanged Christmas cards and moved on. These are people who grew up together on screen and continued growing up together off it, through addiction and recovery, through grief and reinvention, through love and loss." The Brady Bunch was never a ratings smash during its original run. It never won a major award. It never cracked the top 30 in the Nielsen ratings during its 5 seasons on ABC. And yet, in syndication, it became one of the most watched television programs in American history. Generations of children who had never seen a first-run episode fell in love with Greg and Marcia and Jan and Peter and Bobby and Cindy through reruns, and then introduced their own children to the Bradys, and so the cycle continued.
The actors behind Greg, Marcia, Peter, Jan, Bobby, and Cindy all came together today.
Why? What is the real secret? Maybe it is this: the Brady Bunch showed people a family that was kind to each other. Not perfect. There was plenty of sibling rivalry, plenty of mistakes, plenty of growing pains, but fundamentally kind. In a world convulsing with the Vietnam War, civil rights upheaval, and social chaos in the early 1970s, America tuned in on Friday nights to watch a family work things out with love, patience, and humor. Susan Olsen was right when she talked about those child psychiatrists using the show therapeutically. There is something genuinely healing about watching people choose decency, and there has never been a time when that was more needed than right now. Where does the story go from here? So here we are, 2026, 57 years after that first Friday night when millions of families discovered the Bradys. 3 members of the original main cast are gone. Robert Reed, the conflicted father who hated his role and could never leave it. Florence Henderson, the sunshine mother who kept showing up for everyone until her very last days. Ann B. Davis, the sharp-witted housekeeper who found peace in a life of service and spiritual community. 6 Brady children are still here. Still alive, still connected to each other and to a show that shaped all of them in ways none of them could have predicted at 10 or 12 years old. Barry Williams is still performing, still touring, still throwing himself into new adventures. Maureen McCormack is 40 years into a loving marriage and still writing her story. Eve Plum is about to release her memoir and let the world see what Jan Brady was really made of. Christopher Knight is building furniture empires and raising awareness for genetic disorders. Mike Lookinland is turning concrete into art in Salt Lake City. And Susan Olsen is teaching the next generation of actors how to find their voice and their courage. None of their stories ended when that last episode aired on March 8, 1974. In many ways, their real stories were just beginning. Here is the question we want to leave you with today, and we genuinely want you to answer this in the comments below. If the Brady Bunch shaped your childhood, your sense of what family could look like, your understanding that blended families are real families, tell us, which Brady kid did you most relate to growing up? Were you the confident eldest Greg, the perpetually overlooked Jan, the responsible, gorgeous Marcia, the goofy, high-energy Bobby, the earnest, middle-of-everything Peter, or the youngest one, the one who somehow always got away with everything, the one everyone underestimated? Drop your answer below and tell us why, because that answer says more about you than you might expect. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, we are genuinely grateful for you. Please hit that like button. It helps more people discover content like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we cover the stories of the people who made your childhood magical. And share this with someone who still hums that Brady Bunch theme song when nobody is listening, because we all know at least one person like that. Here's the story of a lovely show and the remarkable, flawed, resilient, extraordinary human beings who gave it life. We will see you in the next one.